Assalamu alaikum, girls. Hope you are all doing well today, inshallah. The topic we are covering today is section 1.4 from your chapter 1. Last lesson we were able to cover operating systems, section 1.3. This lesson we are going to do section 1.4, which is types of computers, and this will be your final final lesson in this chapter. So let's see what this chapter or section is about. As a starter for today, I have a starter tab for you. So let's go into that. Here we have a Scratch project where we have many descriptions of CLI and GUI, and you have to sort it into whether it's CLI or GUI. You have to drag it there. So let me do this with you. Which one is beginner friendly? Definitely GUI had graphics, so it was beginner friendly. Which one is more intuitive? You look at it and you understand what to do. GUI, because again, it was graphical. Which is less bug prone? In CLI, you are typing commands, so you can make mistake, right? So GUI is more less bug prone. Which is easy to multitask. You cannot type out many commands at the same time and run it. But in GUI, you can have many tabs, many applications running at the same time. So GUI is easy to multitask. Which is distraction free? Maybe CLI is distraction free because you're doing only one job of some task where you are typing out commands but you're not distracted by other graphics. Which can display graphics? Yes, GUI can display graphics. Which has lower resource usage? We know GUI requires graphics and it has higher resource usage. So CLI is low resource usage. Which is the one with touch screen? GUI. Which is quicker for you to code? It will be GUI, which is quicker to code. Code, will be CLI, and which is faster for experienced users. For experienced users, even CLI can be fast enough. Alright, coming back now that we are done with our starter, let's start today's section, which is section 1.4. The objectives from your syllabus for this section is that we are going to discuss different types of computers, their characteristics and their uses, and this includes both the personal or desktop PC and the laptop computer, and you will discuss them as both standalone and networked. Then we will also describe the characteristics of a tablet computer and what it's used for, and we will be able to understand its ability to use wireless or 3G technology. We will also describe the characteristics of a smartphone and what all it can do, and we will compare the advantages and disadvantages of each. At the end of this lesson, as success criteria, you must be able to identify the different types of computers that we have and be able to differentiate between them based on their advantages and disadvantages. The first one is our desktop or personal computer. A computer used to be very huge in the days that it was invented and take up the space of a whole room. And it was in the 1980s that desktop PCs were invented, which were small enough to fit on one desk. These became suddenly cheap and affordable, and everyone started buying it. A desktop computer sits on a desk and it has separate monitor, keyboard, speaker, mouse, and so on. It can be a standalone system. A desktop computer or PC can be standalone. That means it is used by itself and not connected to the network. It can be connected to its own printer and so on. And if it is a networked desktop, that means this network desktop can share files and resources with other desktops or PCs or computers in the system. This will enable it to share files, resources, have online gaming, and so on. The second type of computer we are discussing today is a laptop computer. Now that we are home online learning, many of you might be using a laptop computer. This is where a computer has all the components like the monitor, keyboard, mouse all together on a single device. And the main advantage is that it is portable, it can be carried around, it does not have to be plugged in and charged all the time, and it can connect wirelessly to network connections. So, if you use a laptop as a standalone, what all can you do with it? If a laptop is standalone, which means it's not connected to a network, it can be used for any personal or work use. So, completing some work you have, some documents, some files, some gaming you want to do, and so on. If a laptop computer is networked, this means that it is connected to the internet, that then enables it to do all the things that a desktop or PC was able to do when it was networked also. That means you can share resources, you can share the printer, share the scanner, and so on. You can share files, do online gaming, all of these things. The third type of computer we can discuss is a tablet computer. So, some of you might be learning online from home using a tablet computer. Tablet computer is more similar to, it can be called as coming in between a smartphone and a laptop, and it is very similar to a smartphone actually. They can have internet connection via wireless, or it can also have 3G and 4G. The tablets, as you know, they make use of touchscreen technology where you select options on a menu using particular icons provided to you. And in a tablet, you can download or install apps for the different tasks you want to do. The sensors on a tablet will also include speech recognition, so you can speak to it and it will recognize your voice. A tablet computer can be wireless or connected via 3G and 4G. Wireless means that the tablet is able to connect to any wireless network and users are able to use the internet as long as you are in the range of the wireless network. So you might be using this when you use the Wi-Fi router at home. But some tablet computers also have allow 3G or 4G SIM cards to be inserted into it, and then it can use the mobile network, which allows wireless internet access at much higher speed. So this will allow a tablet computer to be used even when you are on the move, moving around a country. The fourth type of computer we are discussing is a smartphone. A smartphone can use the traditional methods to make phone calls and send messages using a mobile network, but it is much more than that because smartphones have been made very powerful using operating systems like Android and iOS, which allows them to run multiple applications just like the tablet was doing. This enables them to also have touch technology, many different sensors, the ability to use 3G, 4G, or wireless, have cameras, have GPS, and so on. What are the uses of a smartphone? This you know even without learning it up from here. You can send messages, make calls, receive emails, browse the internet, stream video or audio content, use the GPS, and so on. When you put all of that aside, then we remember that the latest type of computer we have is a smartwatch. Smartwatch has become very popular recently, and these are really mini computers that is worn just on the wrist of the users. If you look at its functionality is almost similar to a smartphone, but it might have certain disadvantages where you might be not able to type very accurately with it and it might tend to be large and bulky. But just like a smartphone, you can download and install applications in it, and it will also have sensors including speech recognition. The advantage of a smartwatch is that it is more convenient than a smartphone because it delivers notification directly to your wrist. And one important advantage is that it is very easy to use for monitoring fitness and health regimes. So if you are going out jogging or you are at the gym, the smartwatch will keep track of your health and fitness regimen. But as we said, it has disadvantages that it can be bulky and not very sleek looking in design, and its functionalities will be limited compared to a smartphone because of its smaller size. Now, if we go back to the biggest requirement, where in companies you need very powerful and very large computer systems, what they use will be a mainframe computer. Mainframe computers will be used in big organizations like banks, and they will have several CPUs running together to do all the data processing required. When we put all this together to see what are the advantages and disadvantages of each type of computer, this table becomes a very important one for you to remember. A desktop or personal computer is always connected to the mains. It can come in any size, can be upgraded, parts easily replaced, and it has higher specification than a laptop. But the disadvantage is that you cannot move it around, it's not more portable, it takes up your desk space, the components will be separate on it, and there can be loose cables which can be a tripping hazard. So you need to remember all the advantage and disadvantage of all these four types of computers, and you may be asked to compare and contrast between any two, for example. So and be able to tell their advantages and disadvantages over each other. An optional activity you have for this lesson is that a Kahoot tab will be added to your Teams group, and a Kahoot quiz will run there for the next 1 week, and you can try to solve it, inshallah. This is an optional activity. Thank you girls for listening in today. Hope you have a good week ahead of you. Assalamu alaikum.